I love me some Jordans and I love me some coffee, so this one was a no-brainer. Hey, what's happening, everybody? It's your old pal, Mr. Butter, coming back at you again. I woke up early this morning so I can make this review for y'all. I'm shooting this on the day that the SoleFly Jordan 12s released on the sneakers app. I grabbed my pair from SoleFly directly and they just got here. I can't wait to get into them with y'all. If you're into kicks and you feel like hanging out, then hit that subscribe button. Let's take a look at these coffee-inspired SoleFly 12s. So once again, it's time for the SoleFly Jordan holiday release. I was thinking last year they did the 13s that were inspired by one of Jordan's boats, but actually I think last year was the 8s. I forget what the inspiration for that pair was, but I didn't grab those. They look cool, I just don't wear 8s that much. This year, whenever I saw images of this, I knew immediately that I wanted to grab these shoes. There's family ties between SoleFly and Michael Jordan. It's not as close as like Trophy Room, which is run by Michael Jordan's son, but I think the owner of SoleFly is an in-law or something like that to Michael Jordan. Throw that down in the comments if you know the answer to that. I don't know if I'm pronouncing this correctly, but they're calling this one CAFECITO. Shout out to my guy Mario from down in Miami. He actually let me know that that is just a Cuban coffee. SoleFly is a boutique out of Florida. I'm not sure where all they have locations, but just like Trophy Room is out of Orlando, I think they have SoleFly in Miami and a couple other locations. It seems like there's always a cool story behind their holiday collaboration with Jordan Brand, and I think they knocked this one out of the park. The first thing that we see is this green sleeve outside of the box. It reminds you a lot of what we've seen on Alma Maniere collabs, the Travis Scott Fragment Jordan ones. I think we saw similar sleeves on the DJ Khaled Jordan 5s from a couple years back as well. When we slide the box out of there, we can see that it's just a silver box. It's got the SoleFly S there on the lid. The tag reads Air Jordan 12 Retro SP. The colors are white, Baroque brown, and sail. I went with a size 10.5 in these. I could have gone with the size 10, but out of habit, I just grabbed a size 10.5. I think they were $225 on the SoleFly website, and I would imagine that they were the same price on the sneakers app as well. Typically, SoleFly has most of the stock. I can imagine they would probably be pretty limited on the sneakers app. Even though I had to pay shipping, that's why I went ahead and grabbed these from SoleFly early, just to make sure that I got my pair. I think the last time that I checked, there was still a ton of sizes sitting on the SoleFly website. When you open the box, you immediately see this drawstring bag. It's kind of just like a canvas material or something like that, but I think it's meant to nod to the bag that coffee beans come in. Underneath of that, we have some brown kind of wax feeling paper. It feels very thin, and then the shoes were individually wrapped underneath of that. And then before I freeze and my fingers fall off, let's hurry up and get into these bangers. I think these things are so freaking cool. I really love the combination of like sail and brown, and I think this is a Jordan 12 that's going to be really easy to wear. Jordan 12s are very, very comfortable, and it's a silhouette that I don't really wear much in the summertime. The only time I'm going to have 12s on feet is during the winter or the fall time, and I think this colorway perfectly goes with that time of year. When I first saw images of this release, I immediately thought, well, that looks just like the Alma Maniere 12 that we saw not too long ago. A year or two back, Alma Maniere released two different 12s. One was a white upper, one was a black upper, and then of course the overlays, I think it had more of like a burgundy or a mauve color, but I just thought initially that the color blocking and the colors were kind of similar to that Alma Maniere 12. I can say 100% I prefer this pair over those Allemand Maniere 12s, simply because those had like a really nice nubuck upper, and while it looked nice, they had major issues with the color bleeding from the burgundy overlays onto that white upper. And along with that, not only would you have to worry about that color bleeding, but also the upper's just unforgiving. Like, that kind of suede will get dyed from your jeans, and any piece of dirt that hits it will end up staining it, and they'd be just real hard to keep clean. In contrast to that, I think this pair is actually going to age well. I think because it has that crackle effect on the upper, I just think these things almost look antique or a little bit worn in already. So I think the more that you wear them, I think it's just going to play on that even more. And I think these things are going to age beautifully. It does seem like they gave us really nice materials on this shoe. And at first glance, it seems like QC is really good on this shoe as well. I'm going to sit this left shoe down just because it's got these extra laces and this tag on it. The laces are that same brown color that we have for the midsole and also the leather overlays. They came with a sail color already in there. I'm not sure which laces I would prefer. I'd have to mess around with that to see. Let me know down in the comments which laces you'd go with. And then it also came with that tag similar to what we saw on Allemand Maniere releases that just lets you know that the crackling on the upper is intentional. Looking at the outsole, we can see that the perimeter is all this nice brown color, definitely reminds you of coffee. And then for the traction pods underneath the forefoot and the heel, it's a clear rubber, and underneath of that you can see that we've got this kind of antique tile design. Another thing I didn't notice about that pattern immediately was that it's got the SoleFly S in the middle of each of those little designs, which I think is a really nice touch. But in the midfoot, we have that carbon fiber like we're used to getting on 12s. And then underneath the forefoot, we have a Jumpman in like a sail colorway, and it wraps up to the front of the shoe. As we come up to the midsole area, we can see that that brown rubber from the outsole wraps up to the midsole. It meets this area of brown foam. It's kind of got that lizard skin texture on it. We always see that on 12s. Most of the time, I think that carries up to these overlays, but on this pair, these overlays of brown leather just have a smooth texture. I think it's pretty neat looking. I like having all the variety of textures on there. Towards the back of the shoe, you can see that this foam is in a sail color, and that really just matches the upper of the shoe perfectly. On the heel of the midsole, we can see that 2-3 popping off of that brown color. Moving up the shoe, you can see we have that Jumpman accent there towards the base, and that's in a cool brown color. It almost looks copper. That's on the outside of the shoe, and the inside of the shoe has the same accent, but it doesn't have Jumpman on it. Then as we get to the upper, we can see that it's just this sail leather. I'm not sure if it's a nubuck or what type of leather it is, but as I said before, it does just have all that crackle effect on it. I know most of the time people are either really into that effect or else they don't like it. I think it looks cool. I think it adds character to the shoe, and with these colors just kind of going with somewhat of like an antique style, I think it looks really good on this pair. But just like we're used to seeing on Jordan 12s, the entire upper is all this one color, and it's kind of got these ribs to give it a really neat shape, and that's created by all the stitching going up and down the sides. I say it all the time, but I don't really like when there's a whole lot of co-branding on a shoe, just because I don't like to feel like a billboard. But I think SoleFly did a really good job incorporating their branding in with the Jordan branding. On the tongue of the right shoe, you can see that it says Sole underneath the laces. And on the tongue of the left shoe, it says Fly, and that's just in a nice brown stitching. We also see the co-branding on that tag that we have on the heel. I've always loved that on 12s. It says Jordan, and then it says quality inspired by the greatest player ever. And then at the top of it, we can see some of that SoleFly branding as well. The entire upper has that cool crackling effect, but the tongue actually does not. It's the exact same color as the upper, but it is just all leather, and then on the side of that leather we have a mesh material. It's very soft. The leather is very soft. These tongues feel like they're going to be really, really comfortable. At the top of the tongue we have a tiny little Jumpman embroidered on there with brown stitching. The little plastic eyelet accents at the top of the shoe are just in a white color or a sail color to match the upper. The sock liner has a really cool texture on it. It almost looks like a diamond pattern or something. And then down on the insole, it's a brown color and it's got a Jumpman along with some SoleFly branding. All right, well, that was a pretty quick look at the CAFECITO SoleFly 12s. Let me know how bad I'm mispronouncing that. I'm not sure how to say it. It's not a term that I'm familiar with, but I do know that I love coffee. I always appreciate the SoleFly Jordan holiday collaborations, and I think this one came out really well. It's a very wearable shoe, and the packaging is really cool. I just really like these. I'm not sure how quickly they'll sell out on sneakers, but I think if you miss out on sneakers, don't stress out too much because I think they're still available on the SoleFly website at this time. Another pair of shoes that dropped on the sneakers app today that I have on their way here are the Stash Air Max 95s. I really wanted those. Those should be coming anytime. We got the Legend Blue 11s dropping tomorrow, so I'm hoping to go and pick up a pair at my local Finish Line. I surprisingly did not get in-store EA for that pair, but I think they had a bunch of them, so I'm just going to get there early and hope that I can get my size. Let me know what y'all think about these. Let me know if you're going for those Legend Blue Jordan 11s that are dropping tomorrow. I appreciate you all watching tremendously. I hope you all have a wonderful weekend, and I will catch y'all on the next one. I'm out.